Well, guys, so in the last session, I'll just summarize what we discussed. So as part of this program, you will learn competence, which is skills required for you to do your job, and communication, the oral and written, as well as collaboration, how do you work as a team, and culture. Okay. So about the software has a different culture. So we'll talk about of environments, what to ask, what not to ask. Then we discussed about, of course, the Java full stack, what are the tools, technologies, and framework. And we discussed about of types of programming, which is system programming and application programming. Then we discussed about of digitalization, going from manual process to automated process. Then we discussed about of these are code for us, which is types of applications, which is a mobile application, web application, and desktop application. Then as part of some of your questions, I answered about of a placement process. So there were three ways that you can get placed. First one is once you're done with the Java programming itself, you are able to eligible for apply for jobs. Then after 2 months, it's a backend, and with 3 months, you're done with the front end and you're ready for job. Let's move on today. We'll understand more about of web applications. Okay, let's start with web applications. What is a web application? Guys, anyone of you would like to answer? What is a web application according to you? The application which used only for a web, it is very plain answer. See, when you're trying to say any answer, right? I know that you don't know anything at the moment, but we should be able to explain to anybody like a novice. They doesn't know anything about of it. Any of you would like to address?
A software program that runs on the browser. It's called a web application.
Perfect. The software program that runs on the browser. See, first of all, as the name suggests, it is a web. What is a web? See, today it is completely, all the systems are interconnected, right? The systems are everywhere. It is a lot of softwares are running, and those are interconnected, and those are visible to each other with the help of IP addresses. Like how one person can call to other person using a mobile number. Ideally, you will save it as a name, right? You don't remember a lot of mobile numbers. You will save it as a name, and you will call that, you open your phone and you make a call. Similarly, for a web application, what you will have is you will have a URL. Okay. URL consists of IP address. So as we don't remember an IP address, what you will have is the URL in a name format. Okay. So URL in a name format. Let's say I want to go and do my net banking. Let's say I have a bank, my bank account is with HDFC. I want to do a net banking. I know hdfcbank.com. That is what is the website, correct? But if they say there is an IP address to be remembered for a HDFC bank, it's impossible. Today you can't do that one, right? Let me quickly show you. I'll open a command prompt here, right? And I'll do something called a ping. Okay, ping hdfcbank.com. Let's say hdfcbank.com is a website, right? If you see here, there is certain reply from a specific, you can see a address is there. Okay, so today your IP has two versions, IP version 4 and IP version 6. You're aware of it, IP version 4 and IP version 6. Because with IP version 4, you have a, how does your IP version looks like is, it's like this. Just for an example, I'm giving 1.2.3.4. Today, it is a IoT era. IoT stands for Internet of Things. Okay. What is an Internet of Things? You have a AC and you want to switch it on and switch it off from anywhere in the world. Now it's impossible before IoT. So now what happens is for this AC, you will give one IP address and that is connected with the internet. Then like your system, you can connect from anywhere. You can switch it on, switch it off, right? These are very famous even in the US and all. Let's say even cars also. Let's say US like countries are very cold. If you want to switch it on the car before even get into a car itself, you can switch it on. You can turn on the heater, right? So now what happens is this IPv4 was not sufficient. So that's where IP version 6 has come. It's called IPv4 and IPv6, right? So now if you observe here, this is IP version 6. That's the reason you can see in between of a double quotes. I'll try to go for one more. Let's say, clear the screen. Ping gmail.com. So which is, we use, right, Gmail, Google Mail and all, right? You have these addresses. Now, ideally, you will have IP addresses. You won't remember the IP addresses. So you remember the your name of the websites. So that's where your URL will be literally converted into IP addresses. This is called DNS mechanism, domain naming server. DNS mechanism. You need not to remember anything. Okay. What happens is there will be a directory, like how we have a dictionary. The moment you give a URL, it will convert, it will internally look for the IP address and it will ping to that one. If that IP address or that system is working fine, then that will respond back to you with a whatever is the page. Clear, guys, as of now?
Yes.
Okay. So now, when it comes to the web application, you have two components. One is called web server. Another one is called web client. So your browser is nothing but a web client. Your browser. What are the browsers we use day to day? What are the browsers we use?
Chrome, Firefox.
Google
Opera.
Chrome. Chrome is the browser name, and from Google, yeah. Safari, Firefox, yeah. Safari is from Apple, right?
Yes.
Apple Safari, yeah. What else?
Firefox. Mozilla Firefox.
Firefox, correct. Mozilla Firefox, right? And by default, when you're having a Windows, it is from Microsoft. It's Microsoft
Edge.
Edge is the current version. Earlier, it was Internet Explorer, but no one is using that. Microsoft Edge. Now, what happens is these all are called clients. If you want to connect with a server, see, today you can access a lot of your applications from anywhere. Once you have a browser, you can connect with your bank. You can connect with your, let's say you're working in a, let's say like this meeting. See, currently all of these guys are attending the meeting from everywhere, right? Then you can look after mail. Yeah, your, I can say social media, right? Like your Facebook, Instagram, all those things you can see them from the web. Then you can search in the Google, right? You can do plenty of things. So, but for that one, what you require is an internet, because without you connecting internet, you cannot go for it. So if you're connecting with an internet, you will go with a somebody called a ISP, Internet Service Provider. Can anyone try to help me with the internet service providers currently, whom you're with? Yeah, which you are not aware, but internally it is using. You have a Geo, you want a internet. Geo is your internet service provider. You're using Airtel, it's an internet service provider. Like that, you might see in different places, ACT is one of the internet provider, and there is a local internet providers. What they do is they will provide you internet access. They are called ISP, internet service providers, like your Airtel, Geo, ACT, and there are so many actually. We know very few of them, right? And even Tata has a one, Tata Communication, Tata Telecommunications. Yeah, yeah, Reliance. Reliance is Jio, is from Reliance. Okay. So now what happens is, ideally, you have a system and you have a browser. It doesn't mean that you can connect with any of the applications, right? You definitely have to connect with the internet through wire or through Wi-Fi. So if you're connecting with the Wi-Fi, it's based on the kind of modem which you will use, right? Now you have one of the browser which you'll use. See, what is a browser is? Browser, as I mentioned, it is a web client. It can connect with the server, right? Otherwise, you are hooked with only certain systems. Now it is open. From anywhere you can connect with any of the websites. Right. Then what is a web server? Now you're going for a Gmail or Yahoo Mail or a Rediff Mail. The most famous is Gmail nowadays. What do you do? The moment you get into Gmail, you will have a login page with username and password. Once you log in, on the top right corner, it will show you your name and all the mails which you are receiving. Correct? So now, for that, there is somewhere Google is running a web server. Now your bank account. See, today, majority of us not at all using a bank account because you have a UPI. You connect with the UPI and you can make a payments, right? You can receive payments and make a payments, right? Otherwise, what all your daily use? Let's say a lot of people, either today educated or uneducated, they have a mobile phones, right? Smartphones. They use certain applications, but not everyone is using a web applications. The reason is whoever is having a computer, majority of the office works will happen through your web applications as well as desktop applications. Microsoft Office, all of us will use, correct? Microsoft Office, you will use a day-to-day basis for your documents, presentations, and Excel sheets to store a lot of information, correct? Those are very, very basic stuff. Now they have come up with Office 365. Earlier, if you install Microsoft Office only, you can use it. Now through online itself, it becomes a SaaS, software as a service model, right? So whenever you are trying to access a web client, that is from browser, you're trying to access an application, for sure there is somewhere server is running, correct? If the server is not there, who will address that one? There is an issue. See, you are making a call because let's say I'm making a call to you. If I know your number, I can make a call, right? Imagine I'm giving 11 numbers. Will not work it, right? It's only 10 numbers is the one idea, right? Similarly, what happens is every sort of application which you are going to use it, either for free or it is a subscription based. There are three types of models are there. Either you can use it for free and subscription, or you can say premium. Premium is nothing but it is paid. And freemium. Freemium is it's free for some time, yeah. Absolutely. It is sometimes given for free for you to test their services. After that, you have to make a payment, either monthly wise or yearly or a lifetime, whatever it is, right? See, currently, a lot of the services are free, right? Gmail we are using, it's so free of cost. Google search engine we are using for free of cost. Google Drive we are using for free of cost. So the reason is how they work is they take your data and they use it for the advertisements of you. They're not taking any money from you, but behind the scenes, they have run all these servers. So it's a web server and web client. Guys, all of you are clear on this part, web applications?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So now, as of now, you are using a web applications for a purpose. Let's say when you are a student, you want to know the results. You can log in into the certain websites, either government websites or your college websites to log in and check it out. In day to day, you are using a Gmail and sort of applications, and you will use a YouTube. You will use a lot of websites. Let's say you're learning a technology. There is a technology documentation will be there. You're learning a courses like Coursera or Udemy and all. Correct? As a students, we definitely go through a lot of stuff for us to understand. There are multiple sources. You have a videos, you have a documentation, you have websites, correct? All of these things you will access. Now, if you are a web developer, now we are going to be web developers. That's where is Java full stack course is a put of. Out of three types of applications, which is desktop applications, web application, and mobile applications. One moment, guys. My daughter's school line. Madam? Yes, madam. Yes, guys. So now we want to become a web developer because this has a huge demand in the market. So what we need to understand is whenever you are using a browser, what you see is called UI. It's a user interface, correct? Or some people will call it as a UX. It's a user experience. The reason, the differentiation is very simple. When a website is very funky, easy for you to understand with a different look and feel, like a 3D sort of things, or that's where you call it as a user experience. User interface is more of like your laptop, how you're accessing the things and all. But it has some look and feel is better. That's the reason people call it as a user experience. But in a standard terms, it is a user interface. Any sort of system you are interacting with it is a user interface. See, if I want to access my laptop, I have it two ways. Using mouse, I can access on clicks and all. Using keyboard, I can access. Correct? So now, when you come to the web application, you have three components coming to picture. First one is a UI, or I'm giving it as a UX. Second one is server-side coding and database, right? So this is also called three-tier architecture. It's called three-tier architecture. Your UI is called one tier. Okay, you can develop it independently, separately, and it will connect it with the server-side coding. And finally, to store the information, you use a database. So as each one is called one tier. So total three tiers. When you are developing an application, it is called three-tier application for sure, because you will be having all of these three, right? Then it can go to the n-tier architecture. What is n-tier? Imagine you might have it two databases, because one database is for reading and another database is for writing. Because when you have a huge volume of transactions, you don't want to give a load on one database. What you'll do, you will parallelly have two databases and you can sync it. Then you can have a server-side coding. Web servers can be multiple web servers. Let's say country-wise, you can have a servers. For example, you're going for a Gmail. Do you think all the Gmails will be accessed from one server? Impossible, because the number of volume or people are there is too many. That's where they will have a, let's say, region-wise or a continent-wise. Asia-wise, they might have a server. Or a country-wise, they have a server. In a country, if they have too many people from a state-wise, they can have a server, right? So that's where it can be n-tier, right? Even UI might be running from multiple machines. So that's where there are a lot of concepts come into picture called load balancing. Have you ever seen Google Gmail and all is slow? Or Google search engine is slow? No, right? Because they replicated a lot of things. Okay, so it may go to n-tier. So you can have a multiple databases, you can have a multiple servers, then you can say it as a n-tier architecture. But for sure, it is a three-tier architecture. Then coming back, you will have two types of web applications. One is dynamic web application. Another one is static web application. Did you hear these names anytime? Dynamic web application, static web application. You might not had. Any of your working might have understood about of what it is, right, guys? I'm just closing certain things which we don't require. For some reason, we have done this. Okay. So, yeah, I'm here, right? Yeah. So two types of web application, dynamic web application and static web application. Would any of you would like to answer? Online guys? Here there are few offline people. They don't know, but online would like to answer this. Dynamic web application and static web application.
The dynamic application is one which the user can interact with.
Okay, then what do you mean by static then?
Static is only it's like a one-way communication. You can read something from the site, but you can't. There's no interaction with the application.
Right. You are right, but I'll add on a couple of more points. So whatever is a general websites which you see is majority of the time it is a just a static web application. Okay. Let's say I have a college. I just want to give a information about of my college, the courses whichever is there. Okay. What I will do is for that one, I need not to have a dynamic web application. There is no interaction with my application. It is only I want to showcase the data about of my college. Or I have a small boutique. Okay. In my boutique, I want to showcase what is the services I have, right? So for that time, majority of the websites, I mean to say majority of them, it's not all, majority of them where there is a no form submissions and all are called static website. All you have is different pages. You click on one pages to go to the other page. From there, you come back here. That's it. But it is not specific to you anything, right? There is no specificity. It doesn't know whether you have access, I have access, or somebody else access. But whereas dynamic web application will be specific to you, where you log in or you interacted, it know that it is you are the one. You take, yeah, absolutely. Facebook is one of them. See, you go to Facebook, you will have a generally login page. That's common for anybody, right? But once you log in, it shows the content. It shows your image, your name, all the contents related to you, right? And you can post it. You can do the posting of any of the image or a video and all. Yes, absolutely. So that is what is a dynamic web application. This you're interacting with a bank, or you're doing a social media, or you are using a YouTube. See, what happens is you want to like some of the videos, for example. What they do is they'll ask you to log in, but watching anybody can watch, right? This dynamic web application can interact with you. You can give the information. According to that, it will show back to you. You log in. Let's say I would like to log in, but I forgot my password. It doesn't enter into it, right? It will show you that you entered your username and password might be wrong. And there is an option for you to reset your password. And some websites will ask you to authenticate it, saying that are you the right one? They'll be sending OTP for your mail and your mobile number, right? So dynamic web applications are the one which has user specific functionality and the screens. So these are designed by almost everybody. Non-websites are all called dynamic web applications. And a lot of people are making these web applications as a mobile applications also. The same web applications are made to mobile applications also. Let's say Gmail. Gmail can you access from your mobile and as well as desktop browser, any browser? Okay, your Facebook, you can access from anywhere. Then your net banking, right? Any of the bank. So then let's say e-commerce, right? Let's take it as a Flipkart. You can access from both the places, right? See, what these guys are trying to do is they want to give you a flexibility to access their services and products from everywhere. Either you buy a pair of shoes from online or a web, doesn't matter for them, right? They want a business, correct? What they do is then what is the point of maintaining web applications and mobile applications? So why should they do it? Web application, mobile application. What is the reason? Why not they go with it? Initial days, Flipkart started after the mobile application started, right? They completely stopped the web application for some time, but they were not able to survive. The reason is simple. For web application, the screen is big, right? So you can easily do a lot of things at a time. At one shot, you can open 5, 6 tabs. At the same time, you are working on some of your applications. It's impossible to do it in the mobile, right? You can do it, but you have to switch between the screens. The screens are small, correct? And the information is shown is limited. That is the reason people have come up with a mobile application. While you are on the move, you can use the mobile applications. But when you are in office or when you have a time, when you have a laptop, it's easy for you to do a lot of stuff at a time. That's the reason a lot of people, what they did was they have replicated the web applications in the mobile applications. right, guys? So for mobile application, the other thing is they won't ask you to, enter the password, and you have fingerprint, right? For the mobile and all, you have fingerprint or a face recognition. Through them also, they ideally would like to access your phone for authentication. Otherwise, what happens is browser is open, and ideally no one suggests you to save your passwords in the browsers and all until unless you have your own laptop. Otherwise, if you are accessing someone else's laptops, you're not supposed to save it, right? They may access it. That's the reason there's a lot of security things come into picture. If you see everywhere nowadays, there is something called it 2FAs came into picture. 2FA. It's called two-factor authentication. With the two-factor authentication, what you do is you can give a username and password. Second, it might come for a OTP, or it may ask you to access your application in another device if you're in a multi devices. Yes. Example is a Gmail. If you're enabled with the Gmail, right, what happens is if you're already logged in from multiple devices, if you're logging in a browser, it will say, please, approve, or it will show a number or approve. Absolutely. So, and it will tell you access from, this device, and you can showcase and all. So there is a two-factor authentication come into picture. Now, when you say dynamic web applications, what is a dynamism is, as I mentioned you will give a username and password. From there, a session will be maintained. Once you log in a Gmail, you can see the mails, you can send the mails, and you can log in into the other applications also. What are the other applications? You have a Google Drive, Google Photos. See, Google Drive is altogether a separate service, separate website. But still, you are able to access it because there is a concept called SSO. SSO stands for single sign-on. Right? Once you log in, what Google says is, I have a bunch of services. You can access any of them. You have a Google Meet, Google Drive, Google Photos, right? And plenty of them. So it happens to the SSO, single sign-on. Guys, did you understand as of now? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I'll move on. So now coming back. Now what happens is, as we discussed, we have to be three things we have to do. I'll go back one step up. User interface, server-side coding, and database, right? Now coming back here, this all things together, you call it as a full stack development. What is a full stack development? You are going to develop a UI UX, which is also called front end. And you're going to develop server-side coding and database, which is called backend. Right? So there are different of full stack technologies. Okay. So Java full stack is one. With Java full stack, what all we're trying to do here is, your backend is by Java and frameworks. Different frameworks are there. So here we are using Java and Spring Framework. Spring Framework is one of the topmost framework currently. You will easily get a job. There are other frameworks called struts also, but struts is very few people are using, outdated. And there are certain other templates also. We will focus on backend using Java frameworks. And here front end, we have choose React. Front end as React.js. You may go for Angular also or Vue also, but we will stick with one which is having more demand, which is React.js. Then here we'll try to go with a PostgreSQL database. Then I'll tell you the other stacks, but I'll not get deep dive into the all the sort of frameworks which you'll use. You can go with a Python full stack. So ideally, you will use a Flask framework for backend, right? For front end, again, it is same as I mentioned you. You can go with a React, Angular, or Vue. Any of them is fine. Then database can be anything. See, you have a SQL and NoSQL databases, right? NoSQL like MongoDB, Cassandra, then SQL like MySQL, PostgreSQL, DB2. Guys, I'm keeping all of this information. I'll share it with you for later point of time. You can refer all of those things. Then you have something called a MERN and MEAN. MERN, which stands for MongoDB, Express.js, React.js, and Node.js. Okay, I'll replicate this with the mean. It is mean. Mean stands for, here it is Angular. Okay, so MongoDB is a NoSQL database. I'm just mentioning it as a database. This is a backend framework. React.js is a, I'll just take a one line here space. React.js is a front-end framework. And Node.js is a runtime, guys. What is a runtime? For your server to run, your code to run, there is a runtime. We'll get deeper into all of these things once we get into the hands-on technology going further. So these are the currently so famous full stack technologies available. Top one is Java full stack. The reason is Java is there for quite some time and a lot of companies are using, and Java keeps improving. The current version of Java is 21. It started from version 1 and it has a major upgradations from Java 5. There is a major upgradation. Java 8, there is a major upgradation. It's called functional programming and a lot of things are added today. So that's the reason Java is still using a lot of people. And React.js is a simplest framework, front-end framework from Facebook. Yeah, it is Meta now. So we'll be focused on this one. I'm telling all of these things for your understanding. So you should be aware of what is the other full stack technologies out there. That's where we mentioned it as a Java full stack. Is it clear, guys? Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So now let's understand the whole web application development process. Web application development process. Okay. If you want to develop a web application, ideally first you will go with a requirements from a client. Then we will do the design. Yeah. Next is a development. Then testing, deployment, and let's say maintenance. Or we can call it as a maintenance or a support. Right? This is a standard process for any type of application, whether it is a mobile application or a desktop application or a web application. All sort of applications, first you will be getting a the requirements of what type of application you want, what is the functionality required, right? Then you will have a design. right? Before you develop the application, you will definitely go with the design because that's where your architecture skills come into picture. Then develop. So development of the application, that is literally writing your code. In design phase, you'll not write a code, but you will understand about, let's say you want to construct a house. First, you will have a blueprint, a plan, what should come where. Without that, it's difficult for you. You can't go in between and change any of the things. Same happens in the development. Because what happens is software is an expensive process, guys. Okay. So ideally, what we are trying to do is digitalize the whatever is the manual process which is happening. Then we need to understand a lot of things. How many, the kind of user base, how many users are there? How many roles are there? What is the volume? And what are the locations that client is exist, right? A lot of things come into picture. So design phase will be crucial. Those will be more of like above the lead and architect level people. But for us, we'll understand what is the design when we are trying to do and what is the design considerations. But our focus is mainly on the development of the application. Then it comes to the testing. So again, testing, there are a lot of types of testing. We will see whatever is possible. Then deployment. Deployment is running the code in a server. So today, the deployment can happen in many places. Either it is on-premises on your own location, or a cloud. Today, there's a lot of cloud providers like AWS and Azure and GCP. These are the top 3 players, but there are many of the other players out there. And hybrid model. Hybrid model is certain code is or applications are running in your local environment or in your office. Few or non-sensitive will be running in the cloud. So those are a deployment. Then post that one, you'll give a support. See, the reason is it doesn't mean once you develop a software and deployed it, you're done. People will start using it. Like how you buy any of a product which comes with a warranty, let's say manufacturing defects or any of the issues, they will provide a service, right? So similarly, it will go for a support, right? And maintenance. Once the support time is over, it goes under the maintenance, right? This is a typical development phases. And we talk about of SDLC now. Did you hear about of SDLC? Any of you? Perfect. It's a software development life cycle, correct? So this is web applications development process or web application SDLC, you can say here. Software development life cycle. Oops. It has come to the right side. How did it come? I don't know. Somehow I pressed something, it came here. It's okay, probably no problem, but we can understand. I'll fix it later. Okay. Oops. Right, guys? Yeah, it's going on reverse, right? How can I do it? Please allow me a moment. Control function. Control shift. Okay, can you help me? I'll continue. One of my, this guy is going to help me out. Okay, so as I mentioned, these are the SDLC software development lifecycle. I'm writing SDLC separately here to discuss about a few of the software development lifecycle strategies. The initial was waterfall model. In waterfall model, first requirements is collected, then design will be done, development will be done, testing will be done. It's a one by one. Nothing happens in parallel. That's where in the olden days, software development lifecycle, I mean to say with the waterfall, it takes a lot of time for a software to be released in the market. It might take anywhere between months to years. right? That's where in the newspapers and all it comes, Wipro has bagged 2 billion of this one for over 5 years and all. Now all those things were gone. So, okay, so if you want to release a product, now we are going to release in a phases, phase 1, phase 2 and all. Let me show you. Today it is a agile methodology. Okay, in between there were many others. I'll try to give it as a RUP, which is called Rational Unified Process. Rational control plus right shift. No. Control plus R. Okay. No. Control and R. Oops. Guys, what happened? I don't understand here. Give me a moment. I want to make it float. Okay, it gone to the new one. Okay. Control, let me change it here. Okay, no problem. Let us continue because we are in mid, right? So what I would say is agile methodologies today, RUP, Rational Unified Process. You guys are able to see this, right? It's all coming to the right side. Yes, you're able to see, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Rational Unified Process. There is a V model. Okay, I'll keep it as a next one. V model is Control X. It's a V model. Okay. No problem. Okay. So currently it is a agile methodology. In agile, what happens is your software development is much faster and much simpler. So once the requirements come into it, there will be a product owner and he will divide the whole product. So you call it as a product and project. Okay. We'll discuss in the next class what is a product and what is a project. What is a product-based company? What is a project-based company? What do they do? What do they do? What are the differences and all? We'll figure it out. Now we'll understand about of Agile because today almost all the companies are using Agile SDLC, software development lifecycle. You will hear different terminologies called a Scrum Master, stand-up calls, or a Scrum calls. All those things you will hear. So this is what I was trying to tell you, a process, right? Or a culture. You need to understand these are all the important things. See, writing or doing a code is doing your job is one part, but understanding all the other things is other part, right? That will really help. See, what happens is going to somewhere is easy, but deciding on where we want to go is tough. We are planning for a vacation. You want to go somewhere. You have 100 options where you want to go. But once you choose where you want to go is easy. Correct? So that's how the things works here. In Agile, you will be having a product. The product will be having a product owner. He will divide all the functionality into user stories. And each user story will be divided into tasks and subtasks. That will be developed by all the set of people who will be there. And you will not have a huge teams. You will be having a small teams, very small teams. And there is a planning called sprint planning. Either it will be 2 weeks or 3 weeks of time. You are going to release a software. Okay. It's all incremental way you will release a software. You will not wait for a whole month or year or multiple years to release a software. What you will do is you will release a software in an incremental manner, and it's called fast go to market, GTM, fast go to market. What is it called? GTM, go to market. Right? So with the agile methodology, every team member will be responsible to explain every day about of what they have done yesterday, whether they have any dependencies with other team members, and what they are going to do today. That's where there will be a good visibility about of how the team is functioning and what all are the process, I mean to say, functionals are getting released. There is a planned things, very planned events will be there. Understood? And there are different tools to manage this one. So it comes under PMO, Project Management Office. You will use a lot of tools. One of them is called Jira, Jira. Jira is one of the tool which is used for, it is from Atlassian. This is one of the tool used for project management. Okay, or the task management. Okay, so as I mentioned, your web application development, software development life cycle is almost same, but the way you do the things are different. Like waterfall model, you do a lot of stuff starting from, say, for example, there is a requirement phase are there. There is a development team is hired. Development team is doing nothing. They were just quietly sitting and they were referring the documentations or doing the certifications and all. But here with agile model, all the development will happen in parallel. The front-end guys will be doing front-end development, back-end guys will be doing back-end development, and the test engineers will be writing their test cases. Right? These all will happen in parallel. And once one task is completed, they do the integration, and end of the sprint, which planned for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they will release the software to the market or some set of users, alpha testing or a beta testing. Okay, so that's how it works. Guys, are you clear about what I said? Okay, give me a moment. I'll just quickly bring my charger. My battery is about to die. And any questions, please think through. I'll be back in a minute. Yes, guys, any questions? Okay, I think we are good for today. Okay, what I'll do is, whatever we have discussed this information, I'll share it in the group. Okay, so please have a look at it. And tomorrow, I want you to people install Java 8 in your machine. Above minimum is Java 8. I suggest you can go for Java 17. Java 17. You install it. What we'll do is tomorrow, we'll try to write a couple of programs and understand how first of all, we'll try to set up an environment saying that you install JDK 17. We will check everyone's, I mean to say, environment is working as expected. We'll set up a path. We'll write a couple of programs and see how to look after the things. Right, guys? Any questions? Guys? Oh, it got disconnected. No, it's ending meeting for an hour. No, it's not like that. Guys, are you able to hear me, right?
Yes, we are able to.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry, I thought we lost you. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. So any questions you have, please feel free to ask me. I'll try to answer it. Or else we'll continue from tomorrow. As I mentioned, I want you to install Java 17 in your machine. so that I'll try to set up a path with you and we'll start. See, theory, what happens is I'll give you enough of the theory for every concept. Then I'll give you the assignments for you. Then wherever there is a required, I'll give an elaborated explanation for all the concepts. Are you clear on the concepts, whatever I had told today? So this is how we go. How we go is, let's say whatever we are done with today, we'll summarize it. And tomorrow morning, we'll quickly review on that one. Then we'll go on with it. So I'll quickly summarize today's things. So web applications ideally can be if you want to have access a web applications, you should be having a browser and you should be knowing about of a URL of that specific website that will internally take a IP address with the help of DNS mechanism. Then today you have IP version 4 to IP version 6 because of even devices will be connected and operated from anywhere. That's where it is called IoT, Internet of Things. Then we know to access a web application, it is called client server architecture. You have a web server and web client. Browser is called your web client, and there are different browser providers, which is Google Chrome, Apple Safari, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge. And there are so many others, but these are the popular ones. Then we discussed about of ISP, which is Internet Service Provider. If you want to connect any of the services like your YouTube, Facebook and all, for sure, you should have an internet either in your mobile or in your browser or your system. So few of the internet service providers are these: Airtel, Jio, ACT, Tata. And any sort of web applications will come in three things. Either it's for free or a premium, which you are making you a payment, or a freemium. Certain time it is free. After that, you have to make a payment. Then if you want to access any of the application, you have something called a UI, which is called user interface. And it is evolved it as a UX, user experience also. And UI, UX is part of a front end, and as a whole application, you have a UI, UX, server-side coding, and database. When you have an application, web application, a minimum 3-tier architecture will be there. The 3 tiers are UI, UX is 1 tier, server-side coding is another tier, and database is a 3rd tier. And the entire architecture comes into picture in case if you are using multiple database or multiple servers, or you're connecting with third-party servers. Then it comes to web applications, 2 types of web applications: dynamic web application and static web application. Typically, any websites which you don't have an interaction or you're not giving an input or expecting an output, which is a static web applications, where you can log in, or as well as it is giving a context according to the, your credentials. It is a dynamic web applications. Then few of the web applications and mobile applications. That means a web application which is released as a mobile applications also we have seen. Few of them are Gmail, Facebook, NetBank, any of your banking websites. And one of the e-commerce website is Flipkart. Then we discussed about of 2FA, two-factor authentication. Today, lot of your services, I mean to say any of the websites or mobiles also, mobile applications also asking for two-factor authentication for a additional security. Then SSO, single sign-on, we discussed about of Gmail. Once you log into Gmail, you can access bunch of services like Google Drive, Google Images, Google Chat, then Gmeet, Google Meet, all of those things. Then as part of a full stack development, UI UX is called front end. Server side coding and database comes as part of a backend engineering. Then few of the full stack technologies: Java full stack, Python full stack, MERN and Mean. Then your software development lifecycle for web applications. This is common for all type of applications, but I have noted down specific to web application here. Then SDLC, software development lifecycle. Today we are using Agile. All majority of the companies are using Agile. And there are few more things which for you to understand when you are going for a interviews, right? A lot of things matters for you. It's not only what you know what you're doing, you should be aware of the other things also. So that's where I explained you waterfall model, racial unified process, and V model. Then after Agile, your go-to market of a product is way faster than earlier, because every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, there is a sprint planned as part of your product development, and you will release a product in an incremental fashion. Then for project management, one of the topmost freemium tool, it is free for certain users, and above those users, there you have to make a payment. Jira from Atlassian is the tool which is widely used in the market. So that's it for today, guys. So I'll share you the link of the video. We'll connect again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start at 7:30. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Any questions? Thank you. See you tomorrow.